How much time have you spent trying to figure out which tech stack is best for your project? Here's the thing. Your customers generally do not care what your site is built with. That decision is never going to be the reason why someone picks you over a competitor. What matters for them, being able to find and do what they want to do. And you can spend countless hours scrolling through Reddit or X debates trying to figure out what is best, depending on who you ask. So what matters for people like me is being able to launch fast, iterate quickly, and not spend all my time fighting the tools to do what I want them to do. So today I'm going to show you the exact tech stack I use to go from idea to a live project in a single day, under an hour, when I'm reusing one of my core templates for about $80 a month for everything I need for multiple projects. Hi there, I'm Ethan, the creator of SlappShell, where I build boilerplates and manage services for small businesses and solo makers like me. My background is originally in digital marketing and SEO, not programming. Everything I know about code is self-taught from tutorials, documentation, and a lot of trial and error. I used to build everything on WordPress, and WordPress is certainly great for a lot of things, but over time, the drawbacks started piling up for what I was trying to do. I'd be hosting multiple projects on the same server, and doing something in one dashboard would crash everything else, and I'd spend the rest of the day fixing that. Plugin licensing costs were adding up, and my overhead was creeping up as I would add projects to my portfolio. And anytime I wanted to do something programmatic, I was usually stuck copy pasting from spreadsheets into the WYSIWYG editors, which was an old habit from my SEO days, creating redirects and whatnot. At some point, I realized I was spending way more time and money trying to force WordPress to do what I was trying to do instead of actually working on the core project itself. So I made the jump into full stack development, and after building projects on everything from plain HTML to WordPress to what I use now, I landed on a tech stack that works. When picking a tech stack, there are really only three questions I ask myself. One, what am I already familiar with or can get familiar with? What I've been using for work? What have I been learning about? Do I actually enjoy using it? Could you see yourself doing it again and again and again for different projects? Two, how's the documentation and community support? Can you find a good YouTube tutorial when you get stuck? Because you will get stuck. And three, how much time or money do you want to spend? These two things usually sit at the opposite ends of the scale. Some solutions are just really abstractions of things you could do yourself for less, but you got to remember that your time has value too. And I have a toddler, so I personally don't want to be messing around in AWS or things like that. So I'm happy to pay a little extra for ease of use and time savings. So for front end and back end, I'm using NextJS. Coming from an SEO background, I like that it's built with speed and rendering in mind right out of the box. All the foundational on-page SEO stuff I used to have to convince my clients to fix, I can set it up once and never really think about it again. The app router makes it really intuitive to build out your site structure and stay organized, and the component-based nature of React means development for me feels more like snapping Legos together and wiring things up than actually what I used to think of programming and development. So Next.js, I like to use it. That's what I've been using for all my projects lately. And you don't need to know a ton to get a decent result with Next.js. And when you do need to learn more, the documentation and community is solid. For SlappShell boilerplates, I've set things up so you can customize everything through config files, zero programming knowledge required, just fill in your options, and you've got a custom, modern, full stack site ready to launch. So for styling, I use Tailwind CSS. Once I got the hang of it, styling on the fly as I built became way faster than writing traditional CSS for me. For pre-built components, I use ShadCN. I just like the simplicity and customization of it. It's a good base for a lot of things. And then for the little bit of animated components, I start with this project here. React Bits is pretty cool. which is typically for my own entertainment than necessities for the project, but it's cool to check out if you're interested in stuff like that. And here's my maybe a hot take or not so hot take, but on mobile, most websites look basically the same. Your design needs to be intuitive and let users do what they want to do and complete their tasks and find their solutions. So I don't think design needs to be overthought at the start, and I don't want to think about how much time I've spent over designing new projects. For database and authentication and authorization, I use Supabase, which is a Postgres database with a ton of extra features built in: auth checks, user management, storage buckets, database functions. It's all there, and it's generally easy to use. You can do it all from the dashboard or from the CLI, and easy to get started for free and then scale up as needed. And if you're a visual person, the dashboard makes it easy to see all the relationships between your tables, drill into your RLS policies, drill into functions. I like the UX of the platform. For hosting, I use Vercel as well, and I know this is where you might get some more experienced developers with some pushback on this, and there's definitely some horror stories about runaway usage bills. But when I'm launching and trying to iterate fast, it's hard to beat the simplicity. I connect my GitHub repo, I configure the environment variables, hook up my domain, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And I've got a fast site that's easy to update and configure. If you're worried about cost, just set a usage limit in the dashboard. And honestly, once you're getting hundreds of thousands of visitors a month, then you can explore more cost-effective hosting. But until then, I don't think it should be a major concern. For payments, kind of a no-brainer. I use Stripe. Super flexible, easy to develop with. It supports pretty much any use case I can think of. Handles custom checkout flows or Stripe posted pages, subscriptions or one-time payments, static products or dynamic invoicing like I've set up for Service CRM. Flexibility to handle all those different scenarios in one platform is huge, and the support is great, documentation is great, super easy. For emails, I'm using Resend. I've tried Mailgun, MailChimp, ConvertKit for different projects. Resend is one for me for simplicity and just the development experience, and again, documentation. And you can start for free, scale up as needed. You store your API keys, verify your sender domain, and you're triggering emails from the server actions, and it works for both transactional emails, marketing, building a list, everything you need. For analytics and conversion tracking, not the sexiest of choices, but I use Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics because it's easy to connect to all my paid campaigns on different platforms and make sure my conversions are tracking. If you're running campaigns, make sure your conversions are tracking accurately. If you're not, pause them and fix that, and you'll be pretty happy that you did. And while I'm here, SEO, which is not necessarily part of the tech stack, but it used to be my main focus. And I always see SEOs coming up on my feed treating basic stuff like Google Search Console and site search operators like they're some mystical secret, or just and SEO in general like it's some super complicated thing. It's not that complicated. When you're starting a new project, here's what matters. Build a site that search engines can crawl, use HTTPS with consistent redirects for your root domain, have a robots.txt and sitemap XML file, set up your Search Console and Webmaster Tools if you want, include your basic meta tags at minimum, the title and canonical tags on your pages, and describe things in the way your users are describing them. And that's like 90% of it. Everything else is marginal gains. If you get set up technically sound with all the basics, then it's really just a matter of building and talking about what your audience wants. So what are the actual results? When I was doing everything in WordPress, launching a new project took me a minimum of 2 to 3 days, which was all pre-toddler days. And that's not counting all the time maintaining it, spending the time in the dashboards and navigating between plugins and WYSIWYG editors and my giant spreadsheets and whatnot. Now I can launch a brand new project in the same day. I've tested the flow with lead gen sites, SaaS projects, service businesses. It works for me. When I was first getting started, I got up and running for nothing more than the cost of a domain. Now that I've scaled up a bit, all this costs me about $80 a month for hosting, database, emails, everything I need. So the takeaway is this: stop obsessing over finding the perfect tech stack. Pick something with good documentation that works for you. Get familiar with it. Think in reusable systems so each project gets faster than the last. I'm building SlappShell on this exact stack, boilerplates, managed services for different types of businesses. If you want to follow along, I'm building this in public and sharing updates as I go and learnings as I go. Subscribe and come along for the ride. This is what I'm calling the SLAPPY Weekly, this installation of videos and articles where I'm sharing things along the way. If you want to check it out, follow me on the socials, follow this channel. SlappShell.com is where you can find more resources. Yeah, thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye.